My guest today is Mitch DeCoeur, President and CEO of O&R Utilities Employees Federal Credit Union, based out of Monroe, New York. Mitch began his credit union career back in 1999 as a member service representative for Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union, where he held various positions, ending as collections manager. In 2015, Mitch started working for Heritage Financial Credit Union, where he served as AVP of Real Estate Lending and, by the end, AVP of Loan Operations, overseeing real estate lending, collections, and loan servicing. In 2023, Mitch was brought on board at O&R Utilities Employees Credit Union as their president and CEO. So, for today's topic, I'd like to focus on the significance that relationship building has on maintaining brand loyalty. But before we dive in, can you tell me a little more about how you grew in this industry, leading you to being the CEO of your current credit union?
Sure. I started in 1999 at Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union as a member service rep, which was a great beginning to my career because in that position, it was within the call center. I touched all areas of the credit union by taking in incoming calls. So I got a great overall experience of all different areas within the credit union. After about 6 months of doing that, I realized that my career was going to go in the way of more back office operations rather than the branch operations. So I started as a consumer lending underwriter, went into real estate underwriting, eventually got a position as management in the collections department. Spent a majority of my career, roughly about 12 years or so, and then made the decision to move over to Heritage Financial to switch away from collections and moving into more real estate lending. And then in 2023, the opportunity came for me to switch roles again, join O&R Utilities Employees Federal Credit Union as their president and CEO. This credit union is much smaller than the other two previous credit unions that I've been at, just roughly $28 million in assets. We have 4 employees. I've had to take on a number of different roles in this organization, such as being a teller and accounting and understanding how to do the debits and the credits and balance the books and do all the financials. I'm basically a jack of all trades here. Everybody has their hands in just about everything, which has really been good for my growth and knowledge and further understanding of overall how a credit union should be run, and working directly with boards. That's the new piece that was added to my role as president and CEO. So that's been very good experience for me over the last year and a half that I've been in this role.
Yeah, that's great. I kind of relate. The When I joined the marketing team, I was the third person, so it's nice to go from something that's a lot bigger. I worked at a top 10 mortgage company before in a very big marketing department, to go to something smaller where you can really learn a bunch of new things and help have a real impact in kind of molding where the company or the department goes. So definitely going to touch on your collections background later, but I wanted to start off with the relationship building. So every industry, of course, should rely on relationship building to enhance brand loyalty amongst their customers. But with credit unions, and probably especially one as small as the one you're at now, it's less of a strategy and more of an expectation and assumption that you're going to build relationships with your members. Can you speak on how that plays in your day to day?
Yeah, absolutely. In my day-to-day operations, I'm picking up the phone or answering the phone as the calls come in. So I have daily interaction both on the phone and in our branch with members that come into the branch. So have an opportunity to talk to them each and every day. A good number of our members each and every day. First off, handling their circumstance for why they called or why they came into the branch, but also delving a little bit deeper into how can we further enhance the relationship that they have with the credit union, and also educating them on all the different aspects that the credit union offers, not just your savings and checking and certificates and money market accounts, as well as loans, but we also offer credit score monitoring. We also offer financial education. So really trying to let them know the full-fledged information that they have at their fingertips from being a member of the credit union.
And when it comes to this education, how do you go about it? Is it a lot of digital communications, or do you rely on people coming in and that word of mouth of like them obviously bringing their friends and family in?
Sure, sure. So it's definitely word of mouth, but we also communicate through. We publish a quarterly newsletter. We also send out weekly email information as well as to different aspects that we want to tout that the credit union is currently offering. And so at least once a month, we're reminding the members of the credit scoring modeling, that monitoring that we offer, as well as the financial education that we offer.
Mhm. That's great. Do you feel like you have a lot of your members taking advantage of that different kind of education? Because I feel like that's something unique from banks. Obviously, if you go to a big chain bank, for lack of a better term, you're not necessarily going to get something like that, where you can walk into the branch and maybe get like specific financial education that's related to your exact need, especially since your credit union seems to specialize in a very niche group of people that are in utilities, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. It's definitely making them aware, but also letting them know that it's easy for them to set up the information to come directly to them. For example, the financial education is given by a complete third party of us that we do not have access to any of that information. So it's just a matter of letting them know that we offer this to you, but it's not credit union driven. It's not credit union owned. It's by a partner of ours that we trust, and thus, open it up to the membership. But by no means does the information filter back to us. So that tends to put more people on ease when they know that, like, not only that the credit union has vetted this other company and that we trust them, but that the information is not going to come back to us and have us like use that information for any purposes whatsoever. It's just a perk for being a member of the credit union.
That's great. Definitely a good relationship building technique. Going to your background in collections that you mentioned before. So, you've obviously worked on the ground floor of probably the toughest area to maintain relationships that you built with your members. So, how do you apply those learnings to the entirety of O&R's credit life cycle?
The fundamentally, just like every other aspects of every other department within a credit union, or really any organization that has customers, it's all about communication and developing the right communication skills. And my role as a collections manager, before that, before I came into the credit union world, when I first came out of college in 1996, I was a collector for Ford Motor Credit Company. So I sat in the chair. I was a collector for at least 3 years. I learned the do's and the don'ts of how to communicate with members. At that point, obviously, they're customers, not members, but customers, because at the end of the day, it's about getting paid. Like, we're in competition for all the other creditors that the customer or the member has to pay, and I want them to pay us first. Well, if I set a good tone with them and I set a good relationship with them and I treat them with respect and I treat them like human beings that they are, and basically how I would want to be treated if I'm on the phone with somebody, that's how I do it. Was really successful with getting people to pay us, to pay their accounts that I was in charge with. And I just took that into the role of managing other collectors, and really talking to them, listening to their phone calls with members, and then helping them develop new strategies and new communication skills to turn that conversation into a positive conversation. Because let's face it, when you're dealing with a delinquent member, who's delinquent on their account, something bad is happening. There's and it's not a good reason that this is happening. So you're already starting with the negative. Let's take that negative and turn it into a positive, and work with them as best we can, with the ultimate goal that they pay us. But let's do it in a kind and gentler and nice way of being able to deal with them, so they feel comfortable with us and know that We're not going to berate them. We're not going to talk. We're not going to belittle them. We're not going to be disrespectful to them. They're a partner of ours, and we need to handle that in accordance to that. So that was that was the way that I treated my members when I was a collector, and as a collections manager, that was the way that I ran the department with communication. Now, taking that into my other roles that I have done with real estate lending and consumer lending and loan servicing, and now as president and CEO of an organization, it's the same concept. It's just in every conversation that we have. To me, that's the secret to success, is just having that friendly voice, that friendly conversation, and putting them at ease, and really talking to them as an individual, and okay, let's delve deeper into why you're in trouble, why you're having issues, or why did you come into the branch today? Maybe you just came in to get a loan, but let me talk to you a little bit further and really solve your full problem, not just be an order taker and taking in, you just come in, you want to do a loan, boom, you're in, you're out. No, no, no. Let's take a couple minutes and let's just chat this through and make sure that we're giving you the right product that you're looking for and the right solution. Sometimes what you're coming in and asking us for is going to solve your problem today, but it's not going to solve your problem long term. So let's really talk it through. And to me, that's all about the success of our organization and how we end up getting more members to join us, because then you get that word of mouth. Somebody tells their relative or their coworker, "Hey, I just talked to the credit union and they really helped me out. You might want to talk to them." That's what I'm really going for, is that word of mouth, more than marketing, more than marketing new people and communicating to new people to try to to entice them in, but to get the current members feeling very comfortable and confident with us, and that we really help them and that we're here for their success, and that they're communicating that to other people. So that's what I bring to the table. That's what I've been bringing to my staff here, helping them with those conversations to build that out. So it's a very, very positive experience for our members to deal with us, and thus they're going to tell their coworkers or their family members, "Hey, let's utilize this credit union a little longer."
Hmm. Yeah, you mentioned being at the top of we call it the repayment hierarchy. So obviously you're competing with the big, various bills, the many bills that all of us have
Yeah.
that they have to pay back. So using that approach of the financial education, I'm not just going to solve your now problem, I'm going to try to solve your long-term problem. It's all of these little relationship building aspects that help drive that brand loyalty that they'll have to your credit union. Because at the end of the day, if they do fall into delinquency or they do fall into some kind of trouble, you've given them all of these other benefits that almost encourage them to keep you at that top of that hierarchy, because they don't want to lose the other benefits, whether it's the friendly, familiar face or the other benefits that you've been dropping within their lifetime within their membership.
Correct. Correct. Definitely.
Because you're focusing so much on word of mouth, I'm wondering your opinion on this. Are you finding that credit unions can take their time adopting certain technologies like AI because of the expectation of more face-to-face experience with the team, word of mouth marketing? What's your take on that?
Yeah, for a small credit union like myself, the AI perspective doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us to have to utilize that, because we don't have a large number of members to have to communicate with. So for a smaller credit union, I don't really see it. There is definitely a place for it, but for a larger organization, it definitely, I think AI definitely fits in, helps with their economies of scale, and to be able to get their word out to a larger base than what we have. But at the end of the day, no technology is going to replace human contact. And to me, human contact is everything. Like, I can have the best marketing piece, I can have the best AI piece, I can sell the best product to somebody else. If I don't have that personal interaction with the member where they really trust me then at the end of the day, it's not going to be successful.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of organizations are starting to get over the initial excitement of all of the things that AI can do for you, and realizing AI can help maybe shorten manual tasks or something, but ultimately it's to help foster that human connection easier so that your team isn't like busy doing spreadsheets when the AI could just manage it itself. But yeah, from the conversations I've had on this podcast and at other industry trade shows, it seems like people are starting to get past the hill and onto the other side of, yeah, AI is great, but it's great because it's going to help me operationalize and execute that human connection faster and better.
100%.
Well, Mitch, this was such a great conversation. I appreciate you coming on today. Is there anything that you want to touch on before we sign off?
No, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you, and I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you. Have a good one.